Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys our NCP Week 8 battle against Keegan, and it's like Olympic Flagon or something like that. Keegan's a really cool dude, he's a really solid player. I'm really excited to have him in the league this season. He has a really nasty team, and obviously, if you guys have been keeping up, we haven't had a great season. Our playoff run is over. We're not doing too hot, but I obviously want to win this week, and I'm definitely going to put in the effort to do so, and I think we have a pretty solid game here. Now, quickly, we'll go ahead and jump into it. If you guys do enjoy this battle, be sure to drop a like as well as a sub to the channel. I would really appreciate it personally, and we're on our way to 1,000, and I'd really appreciate it if you helped us out along that journey. Now, you can see the team that Keegan elected to bring. He has the Cinderace, which is not Libero, that is Blaze. We have a Tornti, Powdon, Dracozolt, Kartana, and the Diancie. He was also big threats like Corviknight and a bunch of annoying things. He had a really solid team this season. Probably one of my favorites in the entire league. But we have a pretty fun team here built by J-Bear for us. We have a Choice Specs Inteleon with Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, and U-Turn. Pretty solid breaker in this game. If you look, he does not really have great Inteleon switch-ins. His only water is just kind of get 2-hit KO'd by Specs Hydro, so if we can position it, we'll be in a pretty solid spot. We have a Choice Scarf Heatran, another Pokemon. Again, if you look at it, it does phenomenal. His Fire Resist both get botched by coverage, whether it be Earth Power or Flash Cannon. We can Flamethrower in the end game if we do take a little bit of chip due to our, needing to take a Kartana hit or something like that. But Eruption kind of clips the KO, which is really nice. Then we have a pretty bulky Thundurus. We're pretty offensive still, but we're very bulky with Toxic U-Turn, Thunderbolt, and Grass Knot. Just serves as a decent cart pivot, serves as a decent pivot into Dracozolt. We can kind of go into that thing and U-Turn around. If it's not sub, we can Toxic it, things like that. Then we have a Habanberry Garchomp with Earthquake, Stealth Rock, Stone Edge, and Toxic. Again, very bulky but very offensive. Serves as a solid Cinderace pivot. It can spread Toxics. It can check the Dracozolt as well with our Habanberry, which is really nice. And it's a really solid rocker in this game, which is great. Then we have a Rest Talking Scrafty with Intim with Knockoff Drain Punch Rest Talk. Pretty much max defense. It's a solid cart pivot as well, especially considering we're a more offensive Scrafty. Heatran, which is really nice. We can Intim pivot around things like Dracozolt and Cinderace and things like that. And then we got the star of the show. I know you see him at the bottom, our boy Sudowoodo. He's coming with a choice band, almost max speed Sudowoodo with Head Smash, Wood Hammer, Fire Punch, and Explosion. My plan going into this game is to lead this thing and go crazy with it. I know that sounds ridiculous with a Powdon, but just you wait. This should be a good time. I'm definitely really excited to use Sudowoodo here. So, yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it, and I'll kind of explain the Sudowoodo lead as we jump in. Now, my idea with Sudowoodo lead is Draft League player lead Tornti, right? It's just Draft League player lead Tornti. I lead into the lead in with my Sudowoodo, and obviously he's not going to stay in. I feel incredibly confident in just clicking Wood Hammer turn 1. That banded Rockhead Woodhammer does 2-hit KO max Fizz Death Powdon, which is really nice. And from there, I can play a little bit aggressively. I can either try and stay in 2-hit KO it, I can make it double, I can go from there, which I think is really nice. And once we get that chip onto Powdon, things like Head Smash become a lot more free, and we can even boom later in the game and pretty much guarantee clip a KO. So that exact scenario happens. We see the Tornti lead, we see Draft League player lead Tornti, Draft League player click U-turn, and he's going to pivot right out, and there's no switch-in other than Hippowdon. You cannot tell me a switch-in on his team other than Hippowdon. So I clicked Woodhammer turn 1. He's thinking about it, and he might be like, damn, I didn't really prep for this thing. Maybe it's a rocker. Maybe it's just clicking Head Smash here. Who knows what it's going for? Regardless, he doesn't really have other play other than going out into the Hippowdon, which he does go out into here, which is absolutely amazing, as this thing is going to take a shitload of damage right here. We're going to throw off a band. Now, it's going to take a shitload, but it's actually kind of really sad that my banded Woodhammer is quite simply barely a 2-hit KO. If he was leftovers, it was not a 2-hit KO, which J-Bear told me it was when he built the team. Maybe that was me thinking I was adamant or something like that. Now, I'm going to be a little bit aggressive here, and I am going to make a double out, expecting this thing to want to be saved and, something else come in. I was doing the calcs, running calcs on Tornti, and most of the time, max HP variants do just drop to Eruption, and he doesn't have Eruption switch-ins or Heatran switch-ins in general, which I think is incredibly clutch. So I was thinking about making potentially that pivot, making the Inteleon double because it also covered rocks, or a recover right here, making a pivot into Thundurus because if it earthquakes, it can earthquake, things like that. There's definitely really solid options for me. As right here, I am going to make the pivot into Thundurus just because it's a little bit more safe in mid-ground because it also covered an earthquake. I don't have to worry about rocks either or anything like that, so we are going to get out into Thundy right here, as he does make the double out into Torn, which is what I definitely expected when it comes to trying to take that Choice Band Woodhammer. There is resist, obviously, in, like, Kartana and what do you call it, Cinderace. And Cinderace especially didn't expect to come in, but I don't even think Cart really wants to come in and take that hit. There's no reason to, especially when you have Regen Torn-T. We're going to make that double though, and Therian on Therian. I'm just going to U-turn out, even if he wants to stay in for some reason. Completely fine with me because it gives me momentum into said Heatran, and Eruption can pretty much just nab one, which is absolutely amazing, and it's going to at least put on a lot of pressure and really chip down some things. And he can't make the assumption that I'm choiced immediately and go into his DNC, if that makes any sense too. So I am going to go ahead and just U-turn, and after Sand, 2 turns and the what do you call it, U-turn chip, this thing is most definitely in range of a Eruption. I am very surprised that he liked to stay in. Maybe he was, he just knew that he lived a Thunderbolt. Maybe he knew that I'm probably not clicking Thunderbolt into the team with, what do you call it, Dracozolt and Hippowdon in the back, but who knows, really. I am going to, potentially, I believe I go Heatran. I don't think I go Sudowoodo right here, unfortunately. Do I? No way I go Pseudo. Yeah, okay, I go Heatran. I was gonna say, oh, I love Pseudo too, bro, but I don't know if that's the play, brother. But we are going to go ahead and get pivoted out into this thing. It's going to take even more Sandstorm, which is, again, absolutely amazing. And from here, we can just click Eruption. And he is actually going to end up staying in, as you're going to see. And he's just going to get absolutely demolished by this Eruption. I figured he clicked it quicker, which is kind of why I led into that segue. But Keegan's not making me look too good right here. He's taking his time. He just doesn't know what to do about Big Heatran. Yeah, honestly, that's fair. He really doesn't have great pivots into the Pokemon. And if I wasn't a choice variant and he made that call immediately, he was screwed. So I am just going to throw off a big Eruption and do this thing being chipped. We are going to take down Torn-T immediately, which is absolutely amazing for any team not having to deal with Torn-T, what, like turn 4, turn 5. So Sudowoodo week is definitely popping, and we're doing pretty solid here. I'm pretty happy with my really aggressive play up to this point. And from here, he obviously knows him Scarf. He knows him Scarf into Eruption, so he can make, you know, many different plays. He can make a play into his Dracozolt and try and put on some offensive pressure that way. He can make a play into his, what do you call it, DNC, and get a Rock or something like that, which is definitely unfortunate as well. But obviously, I can't really stay in right here, so I am going to be forced to make a little bit of a pivot out. And unfortunately, too, I don't switch into this thing very well, so I am going to make this pivot into my Sudowoodo. Being that Sandstorm is up, I actually do take, like, Earth Power pretty decently if that wants to come out. And if he wants to make a Rocks play, it gives me a pretty darn free Head Smash, as I really don't expect him to pivot into his Hippowdon when he has another Pokemon that's weak to Grass out in front of me. So I am going to make that Sudowoodo play, as we do see a Moonblast pop. It's going to do a pretty ridiculous amount, honestly, a lot more than I thought it was going to do. But Moonblast into Earth Power will definitely take me out here. But I can just drop a Head Smash and do like 80% to this DNC, putting me in a really good spot. We're gonna miss, as happens in the NCP. It's not that big of a deal. We can definitely adjust and come back from this. It is very, very frustrating, I will not lie to you. But that's our NCP season in a nutshell, and it'll be a good test to see if we can finally dig our way out of hacks, because we haven't really been able to up to this point in the season, which is really, really unfortunate. So we're gonna go into Inteleon right here, and I'm just gonna drop a Specs Hydro. Like I said, there is not switching to this Pokemon. They simply do not exist on Keegan's team, so we are just gonna click the Specs Hydro and hopefully do a ton of damage, provided we hit. Now I feel like it's in my odds to hit at this point, because I just missed the Head Smash, which we do, which is very, very nice. We're going to do a ton of damage. We're actually going to crit this thing. So we actually kind of get a little bit of luck our way, because we did not kill that thing in the sand whatsoever, even though we were Specs. DNC is really bulky. So I'll take, it's a little bit of a, you know, crit for crit, which is really nice. Kind of really offsets that. Now makes the positioning a little bit different. But I'll take it for sure. I'm definitely not going to complain. I probably could have gone to like Garchomp or something other than Inteleon. But really, like I said, not the biggest deal in the world. Garchomp would have given me such phenomenal positioning too. But right here, we are going to see the Dracozolt come on out. This is definitely scary. I'm going to kind of be forced into my Garchomp, and this thing is probably the biggest threat to me overall. We see that there is only one turn of sand left. So, and we also see that it is a Smooth Rock Hippowdon, which definitely makes sense. I'm going to pivot out into Hippowdon Garchomp. Now, if he's a sub-variant, I'll be able to break his sub with an Earthquake, but I really don't think he's going to be a sub-variant in the event that I am like a Scale Shot Garchomp, because I just break through the sub and kill him, potentially. And, you know, obviously just make myself faster and more menacing. Or if he just goes hard for a Dragon Claw right here, as I am an Inteleon, he probably kills me if he's Life Orb. I'll be able to live with my Hippowdon and kind of go from there. As we are going to see the Dragon Claw come out. So good aggressive play by Keegan, but we are Hippowdon, so we are prepared for the situation. We're going to take a little bit less than half. It is going to take a little rush skin. Not Sand Veil this week, which, you know, is a little bit interesting. But I figured, you know, getting chip on things like Drakezolt and Kartana and things like that, and especially Cinderace, could be very valuable opposed to getting lucky in Sand, if that makes any sense. So this next turn, he is in a pretty tough spot right here, but Earthquake should nab me because Earthquake should nab me a 2-hit KO on anything that comes in. Now, Cart can obviously force me out, and I want to keep this thing around as it is an electric immunity, and it still takes a Cinderace high jump kick potentially. But Hippowdon at 50% has a chance to be 2-hit KO, which I believe is what I'm calculating right here to see if it's worth getting off my rocks, getting off a toxic or anything like that. But I think at the end of the day, I realized that Earthquake is just ridiculously free, and I can just throw that off very freely and hopefully pick me up a 2-hit KO. Put myself in a pretty good position. As the Hippowdon does end up coming in, it's at about, I'd say like 48%, you know, give or take, something like that. And we should be able to 2-hit KO it from here, which is really, really nice. Garchomp's going to throw off a big Earthquake, and you're going to see we do have enough damage to 2-hit KO, especially considering that leftovers are not there. And here, I can just throw off yet another Earthquake and pick me up yet another KO. Now, if he wants to save this thing to set up Sand later, that definitely is fair, makes sense. But I have no reason to play around that. I can obviously just throw off a big Earthquake. He does end up sacking it off, which means we have 6 turns of Sand that we have to deal with from this point onwards. After that, there's no more Sand, and that Dracozolt becomes considerably less threatening. Which is really, really clutch, as it is going to come right back out here, and we're going to have to kind of pivot around this thing and, you know, play pretty smartly around it in order to not lose. I am going to make the pivot out into my Scrafty right here, as I do expect a Dragon Claw to come out, and after an Intimidate, I can kind of, you know, chew that up pretty nicely, and kind of go from there, which is great. And, you know, kind of buffer this thing's attack and slow it down a little bit, because it's definitely looking really scary. And if I get it down to -2 attack on 2 Intimidates, I believe I'll actually live a Dragon Claw with my Garchomp, which is really clutch as well. And yeah, once this thing is chipped, I'm in a pretty darn solid position from there onwards. As Keegan is definitely kind of thinking, because this does become kind of a mind game, in all honesty, as I am going to go out into my Scrafty right here, and you're going to see we are going to get the Intim drop, and he is going to go for the, what do you call it? The Dragon Claw. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call from my dad. Recording almost done. What's up? Sorry. Okay. But yeah, we are going to get our lefties back right here, which is great. Really, that does nothing. As bulky as we are, as physically defensive as we are, that Dracozolt is kind of bouncing off. And right here, I am going to make a middle ground into my Thundurus to try and get a little bit of HP back. And I know that I won't die to a Dragon Claw at -1 anymore, which is going to allow me just to stall more Sand turns, which is really, really clutch and nice. But, yeah, we're going to go out into the Thundy right now. I believe he is going to click Bolt Beak, and he is going to heal us up, which is great. Allowing us to be a lot more healthy for potentially taking a hit from, like, Cinderace or something of that matter, which, again, is really, really clutch. So, this next turn, I believe I am just going to go ahead and throw off a U-turn to, you know, punish him wanting to overpredict and go for another Bolt Beak into my Scrafty or something like that. As he is going to withdraw, so it's going to allow me to grab a little bit of momentum here, which is absolutely phenomenal. He goes hard Cinderace, which was definitely very interesting to me. I did not think he would do that, as I definitely lived a hit from this thing as well. At this point, maybe he was trying to catch like a Toxic. I don't know, because then he can't really touch the Dracozolt either, which is kind of the crux of having like that as one of my electric immunities. But not the biggest deal in the world, to be completely honest. As right here, I believe I'm going to go out into my Garchomp. I remember calculating it and seeing that I do, in fact, live a hit, and right here, Earthquake is going to do a chunk to something that wants to come in right here. He's going to put me in a really good position right here, because if he goes and, you know, dies to a high jump kick into Earthquake, and then revenges me with Cart, I can potentially just go into my Scrafty, Intim him, and then Drain Punch, something like that, and then put myself in a pretty solid position going forward. So we are going to get some rough skin right here, and then I'm just going to throw off a giant EQ and knock this thing right out. So Garchomp putting in a ton of work this game defensively and offensively, grabbing 2-hit KOs on things that you typically wouldn't think you'd grab 2-hit KOs on. But really, if you think about it, it's all due to big Sudowoodo in the early game, putting in a ton of work, dropping a big Wood Hammer, putting that Hippowdon in range, and really pressuring his team and putting him in a position where he sacked his Torn, so that Earthquake is free. It all comes back to Sudowoodo, you know? It all comes back. Now this turn, I am just going to throw off an Earthquake. Garchomp has kind of outlived its usefulness at this point, and I'm in range of a Cart hit. The Cinderace is gone, so there's no reason for me to really save this, as down goes Big Chomp right here. And we're going to get a little bit of rough skin, which is nice. And then we're going to be able to go from there and get a free switch in, which is absolutely amazing. Really, really clutch for us. And now, obviously, if this Dragozolt does go down, it's actually in range soon of an eruption. And once the, what do you call it? Sand goes away, we can go with that. But once this Dragozolt goes down, we honest to God just, you know, kind of win with Thundurus, with Heatran. If it's not Scarf Cart, we win with Inteleon potentially and things like that. So again, we're in a really solid position here in the end game. Because right here, I am going to go into my Scrafty because I know that I will live Bolt Beaks. And I'll be able to kind of just throw off a big Drain Punch or a big knockoff right here to really neuter this thing and, you know, chip it down a ton. A Dragon Claw is going to pop. Maybe he's assuming that I was going to make the pivot out into my Thundy, but I didn't need to. I lived the Bolt Beak from that point anyways, and we're going to be able to knock this thing off, and Sandstorm is going to subside, which is, again, ridiculously clutch. Now, from here, I can make a very free pivot into my Thundurus because he has a Bolt Beak to kill me, and even if he doesn't, -1 Dragon Claw will not knock me out, and I can U-turn and put myself in a position where I'm in with my Heatran against the cart. And if my Heatran is in against the cart, I put myself in a solid spot just to knock it out Flamethrower. I won't even die to a Scar Sacred Sword, and I'll put myself in, you know, a great position in this end game right here. As we are going to take a big Dragon Claw right here, so he does make the Dragon Claw play, completely fine. And even if he does lock Sacred Sword and crit me, I don't die with my Thundurus from here. So there's a lot of positions in which I can still win this game going forward. So I am going to U-turn, I'm going to knock out the big Dragozolt, and then we're going to be able to go into Heatran and pretty much lock this one up right here. I'll go ahead and skip ahead to it. But yeah, I was really happy with how I played this game. I think I played very aggressively. I think I played how I know how to play, and if I played like this all season, I think we would be, you know, getting ready for playoffs next week. But unfortunately, that's not how it goes. Sometimes you need a little bit of a wake-up call. Sometimes you need a little bit of a slump to kind of, like, you know, help you come back in, hone things in, and get ready for the future. So I'm ready to go in my next couple of leagues. I'm excited to bring you guys some wins. I'm excited to bring you guys a championship because I can just feel it. I'm feeling better, and I'm really excited for this this upcoming step in our journey as a Pokemon player. So GG's to Keegan. Best of luck to him in playoffs. This game didn't matter for him. This is more so like a symbolism game for me. I'm sure he threw something together last minute because it didn't matter too much. But like I said, I'm really happy with how he played, and I'm happy that we could at least close out this season here with a dub against Keegan 4-0. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting this NCP season, even if I played terribly. Even if we got really unlucky all season too, and I will 100% stand by. If our luck was a little bit nicer, we might have skated in with the bottom seed, but whatever. That's Pokemon. That's life. But I'm really excited to bring you guys some BBL content, probably starting next week, I'd assume. Next week or the week after. And I have a bunch of side leagues that I want to upload and, you know, showcase. And I have a bunch of discussion videos and a bunch of fun stuff this summer. So, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys next time. Later.